Welcome everybody to Randomjeanc Reviews, Xcom, Enemy Within. Xcom Enemy Within is an expansion to Xcom Enemy Unknown, which is a turn-based tactical strategy game that is extremely difficult and addicting at the same exact time, where you fight aliens. And the game itself, Enemy Unknown, is a remake of the cult classic Xcom UFO Defense that was released way back in 1994 for the PC, Amiga, and PlayStation 1. Xcom Enemy Unknown was developed by brilliant Firaxis Games, you know, the ones responsible for Sid Meier's Civilization series. Enemy Unknown was released on Windows, Xbox 360, and PS3 in October 2012 in North America and Europe. However, today we will be reviewing Xcom with the expansion included, Enemy Within, which was available to purchase on Windows, OS X, PS3, and 360 on November 12th in the US and November 15th for Europe. Don't worry, it just adds bonus content to the game such as new enemies, story missions, multiplayer maps, and more. So the experience is largely the same, it just offers much more content. It doesn't continue the story where the first game left off, sadly. I had originally played the base game Enemy Unknown a few years ago, but with the release of Xcom 2 in November, I had to review this game and do you all a favor. You're welcome. Luckily for me, I never played Enemy Within until recently, so the experience is fresh and new as ever. Xcom Enemy Unknown sits at $29.99, while Enemy Within is at $29.99? That's a tad bit pricey, don't get me wrong, but being the same price as the base game is a bit excessive. This is something I would expect out of EA. I hate it when games do that, it's unfair, but more on that later. Let's find out whether you should skip and save your money for Xcom 2, or hop on the bandwagon and play this game with its expansion. Xcom's story is quite a simple one. Aliens invade Earth and terrorize humanity. A group of countries, the Council of Nations, band together to create the Xcom project, which stands for Extraterrestrial Combat Unit.
In light of the recent extraterrestrial incursion, this Council of Nations has convened to approve the activation of the Xcom project.
You are the commander of this unit and are helped by your advisors, starting with Central Officer Bradford, the second in command. Dr. Valen is head of the scientific research team, and Dr. Shen, who is the head of the engineering team. The story is somewhat cheesy, but I'd say it's that fun kind of cheesy. But all the characters have certain charm to them. My favorite is Bradford. He's a cool-ass badass. Yes, in that order. He's definitely my favorite. He's just an awesome dude. Xcom has very nice and realistic 3D graphics that has its own unique look and style. It doesn't go overboard on realism, but it still looks nicely detailed. Even after a few years have passed, the visuals still hold up. Guns and explosions are all around great. The game has a great soundtrack that was composed by Michael McCann, who developed the soundtrack for Deus Ex Human Revolution, a game I have yet to play but I have heard has excellent music. What is rather disappointing is that most of the time the game plays the same tracks over and over and over, and very rarely will you ever hear the best tracks of the game, except for scripted missions, or maybe just once in an entire playthrough. Too many tracks repeat too often, but it's not so bad since when you're on missions it's mostly ambiance that is heard until you encounter the aliens. And even the repeated tracks are not bad, it's just that they keep repeating. It's just a shame they aren't as varied as they should be. Xcom has two major gameplay styles that are really unique compared to most games. First off, there's the Xcom management phase, where you decide what to spend your money on, what to research, what upgrades to purchase, and what countries to save during alien attacks and more. The second is the battle phase, where you fight the aliens and deploy off on missions, where the action takes place, and whether you succeed or not, all of it is determined here. When you begin your game, after completing your first mission, sort of your tutorial mission, you'll be asked where to establish your headquarters. And this is quite important, as whichever country you set your HQ in will give you a bonus depending on what continent it takes place in, and the importance of satellites are immense. Every time you launch a satellite over a country, you reduce that country's panic level, and you gain more funding from those countries at the end of the month. If a country's panic level is too high, they will leave the council, and they will be permanently out of the game. Lose 8 countries and the game is over. Remember, you are in it for the long haul, buddy. An average game can take around 15 to 30 hours per playthrough, depending on your skill, difficulty, and other factors. It's gonna be a long one. Mine took around 20 to 30 hours. Xcom management phase, which is a nickname I gave it, is where the most important decisions are made. You you have money to manage, engineers and scientists and soldiers to manage as well. You can use money to build unique facilities that provide various bonuses, from energy generators to allow you to expand your base, to interrogation facilities that allow you to capture enemies to gain research bonuses and items. You need money more than anything else. To gain more money, you need to build those satellites I mentioned, and before you do that, you need to build satellite uplink facilities. And before you can do that, you must excavate and expand your base. All of these tasks all cost plenty of money and days to build. Research and technologies and engineering item upgrades all take time depending on how many engineers and scientists you have. The only way to obtain more of these staff members is to build up more lab facilities or workshops to add a few more. But most of the time, it will be dependent on how many satellites you have over which countries, as in each country will give you a certain amount of engineers and scientists. You can accelerate time at any moment just to get these tasks done, but you never know when you will encounter random events such as alien abductions, UFO sightings, and other missions. The second phase is the combat phase that begins after you receive a mission, whether it be a random mission or a story mission. You may be asked to defuse bombs, rescue civilians from suffering the aliens' wrath, or protecting a very important person. There are also mini campaign missions that are connected and offer some really cool cutscenes that are really fun to watch. Once you are deployed, you'll begin with just 4 squad members, and you can upgrade it to 6 later on. And each member can move twice. If they move within the blue tiles, they can perform an additional command, such as attack, overwatch, reload, etc. Now let me tell you about Overwatch. Overwatch is very important. Think of it as a reaction move. If you see an enemy within your line of sight move, you will get a free shot at the cost of range penalty. But it can be worth it if your enemy moves out of cover, and you can get a much easier shot. If your soldier moves past blue tiles and into yellow tiles, they won't be able to do anything except for move there and take cover if it's available. Xcom's battle system is really fun and somewhat based on chance though. For example, if your enemy has heavy cover, your chances to hit them are very slim. But if you gain a better vantage point, such as height advantage, or you destroy the cover, then your chances will greatly improve. Discovering enemies is a pain though. If you run into your enemies, they will move and react to you finding them. As in, they'll move as soon as you see them. And then once their turn starts, they'll move again and be able to attack you freely. It's an annoying that will more often not kill your squad if you're too far out or explore too much. So you will be forced to be a little bit more conservative. If you don't activate your enemies by fighting them, then nothing will happen. Your enemies won't really move during their phase. So you can exploit this by slowly fighting a few enemies at a time and not expecting retaliation from them at all, as long as you don't activate them. However, the reverse can also happen, like I mentioned, where you activate too many of them and then they will end up pwning you for the next turn. All deaths are permanent, so once you lose someone, they're gone for good. So all decisions are crucial and feel important, as life and death literally depends on you. After completing missions, you are rewarded with XP, weapons of enemies if you stun them without using explosives. You gain weapons and alien fragments as well. With these, you can sell them or use them to create upgrades. I cannot forget to mention the importance of will. Every soldier has a random amount of will. The higher the will, the better they will do when things go wrong for them. If an ally dies, or the soldier themselves gets hurt, the will goes down. If the soldier panics, the soldier will do random moves on their own for a few turns, and this is really hard to control at first, as rookies have really low will. You can gain it back by healing them or by leveling them up. Even in the highest ranks though, they can still panic. It's a lot harder to do, and when they do panic, they'll act like jackasses and get themselves killed. When you attack and you get a kill shot, the camera will lock itself in third person, or when the enemy gets a kill shot, the same will happen to them. It usually activates during kill shots, but not always. Either way, your nerves and fears spike up when you see this being done to you, and it's awesome. These kills are extremely satisfying and scary at the same time when the enemy does the same against you. It's a great feature that adds in some fear and satisfaction. Your soldiers gain XP per kill, and they can become several unique character classes, such as an assault unit which can run to yellow tiles and shoot in them while no other class can. There's also support, heavy, sniper, and for enemy within, the new mech class. Snipers are amazing at being able to shoot extremely far distances, obviously, and usually the farther they are, the better. Although at close range, they are terrible, unless you have a pistol with you. The new mech class for enemy within is pretty damn fun, and can be OP though. You have massive amounts of health, and depending on what class your soldier was before they got turned into a monstrosity, they will gain a unique bonus. For example, if they were an assault class, they will gain a 33% damage reduction if the enemy is within 4 tiles of you. Their skill tree is much smaller than the other classes, as it's just one skill tree for all mechs instead of unique skill trees for each class. The mech skill tree should have been more varied instead of just jamming them all together. It feels lazy, but punching the shit out of enemies is always fun. All classes have unique weapons and can't use other classes' weapons. For example, a sniper can't use a shotgun, and an assault class can't use a sniper but can use a shotgun. And thanks to enemy within Within, you can now augment your soldiers with the new gene abilities, allowing you to jump to roofs of buildings, have better aim, revive yourself if you nearly get killed, and so on. These are a welcome addition that uses the new meld resource that is gained by certain missions, and you must get the meld before it expires or before it gets blown up by enemy fire. You can also augment your soldiers. They're gifted with psionic abilities to use insanely powered moves, but these moves only become available so close to the end that it's almost worthless investing in them. The enemy AI is very intelligent, but their AI is dependent on their difficulty. As the higher difficulties make them do less risky things and use their special abilities more, even the normal one can be challenging for newcomers. And the best part of the soldiers is you can customize your squads and give them names of friends, celebrities, YouTubers, whatever you want. You can change their colors and appearance quite well. I personally like my Megatronus. Xcom is certainly a game that will suck up your hours more than a succubus sucks up men. It definitely has that Firaxis polish that Civ players will recognize. Enemy Within also adds Exalt, a new terrorist organization that tries to undermine your efforts by raising panic levels, taking funding from you, to even hacking your research. You can fight them by sending an agent armed with just a pistol and then extract them after a few days. And the extraction missions are pretty fun. You have to hack into their information, and while you do so, you'll have to defend against them in a King of the Hill kind of defense. All of this ends with a massive raid of the Exalt HQ. If you have a soldier die, you can always load back and change your actions. I'm going to be honest. I saved and loaded like no tomorrow. Had a soldier die, loaded back. Failed the mission, loaded back. I couldn't help it. I always do this for most games, and I'm certain others do it too. You know, when you're playing Skyrim or when you're playing Fallout and you try to steal from someone and you mess up, you load back to try to do the perfect run. Yeah, that kind of thing. I don't want to invest 20 hours into a playthrough just to ultimately lose. Regardless of me doing that, the game is still extremely fun and challenging, despite me being able to cheap out like that. Iron Man mode disables saving in battles, so if something bad happens, it's done. There's nothing you can do, and there's plenty of other options to make the game even more difficult. Not including the Long War mod, which is one of the best mods ever that just completely overhauls the game's difficulty, makes the game from a 20 to 30 hour game to a 100-hour game, and it's extremely good. I have yet to try it, but I've heard countless great things about it. Even the developers themselves appraised it. Xcom is a title unlike any other I have ever played. It's one of those games where insane amount of hours will be lost for all the right reasons. You do feel like every choice matters, and you certainly feel like the commander. The story is fun and exciting, even if it's a bit cliche, and it has its moments. Definitely has its moments. Enemy Within adds plenty of content to the base game, and it's all great. There's so much to do, so many decisions to make that can make or break your playthrough. As I mentioned before, running into enemies is really quite annoying. Matches can take ages, as you have to kill every alien on the map to complete any mission 99% of the time, and sometimes the enemy glitches out and stays invisible, such as with the new squid robots. Once in a match they stayed stealthy for like 8 turns and caused my game to take ages to finish. And not to mention the price for Enemy Within is ridiculous. How can it be priced at $29.99, the same as the base game? No damn way can it be so expensive when it doesn't even have a quarter of the content that the base game adds. If they would have added more story missions or more sub missions as well as more enemies, then it would have been much more reasonable. But for the same price as the base game, no damn way. It should have been $15 to $20 at the most, not $29.99. Come on. Despite my mini rant there, I have decided to give Xcom Enemy Within a GG, great game. And according to our fellow Steamers, they have given Xcom Enemy Within a 91%, a bit higher than mine this time, but hey, that's cool. Not much deviation this time. Damn, I am so excited for XCOM 2, guys. I cannot wait. And I cannot wait to review it for all of you. I'm pretty sure that game's gonna be awesome. It has to be. It has to be. How can it not be? Thank you all for sticking by as usual, peeps. You're all fantastic. If you like this and want to see more, subscribe to get these videos while they're nice and fresh. And follow me on Google Plus and Twitter for announcements. Want to watch more? Click here for my last playthrough on Don't Starve Together with Torpington, where it all ends. And for my last review, click here for that sweet, sweet music of Jamestown. Thank you all for listening to me. This is Randomjeanc signing off.